Yeah, men of science want to find a reasonable and rational and natural explanation for what they have seen and witnessed throughout history. You know, the interpretations of the ancients, how they ascribed certain phenomenon to the supernatural. And so what modern culture likes to do is to find out if there's a lot more plausible reason for what they ascribe to being something that wasn't natural, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with seeing if there's alternative views, alternative methods or ways, and that's part of learning. That's part of science, is to gather facts and try to interpret them as accurately as possible. But we have to also consider the nature and power of God. You know, if God exists, which I believe He does, in a spiritual form, in a form that's non-corporeal, He fills heaven and earth, and yet He's outside of heaven and earth. He exists. There's nowhere that He doesn't exist. You can't. King David said, if He ascends into heaven, He's there. If He descends into hell, God is there. There's no hiding from God, which means He exists. He's omnipresent. He exists everywhere. But God is able to do all kinds of things that defy human reasoning and judgment. He can move rocks. He can affect the weather. He can move planets. He can dissolve them. He can create. He can create matter from non-matter. He doesn't need matter to change it into something else like humans do. God can create matter from non-existing materials. Materials that weren't there originally. He can bring them into existence and then form them and then fabricate, like a workshop, like a laboratory. He can in laboratories, scientists, chemical engineers, they take existing matter and elements and they manipulate them and try to change them and see how they work and mix them together, see what happens once you add this or add that. Kind of like a chef, mixing different ingredients of food to produce something that tastes really good and is servable to consumers. But God goes way beyond that. He can create the elements. He can bring into existence the matter and then form it to whatever He wants to form it into. That's what makes God different from human beings. We are His creations. We are also part of His creation. We consist of chemicals and atoms and material in these bodies that we live in, but God produced the elements and the atoms that make up our bodies. He brought them into existence, and then He formed us out of those materials, just like He formed everything that we see, the planets, everything that is known to science. And it's pretty amazing. So, God can, though the ancients may have been wrong about certain stuff, ascribing deity to the elements, calling the sun God and Saturn God and Mars God, they definitely were incorrect about that, but they knew there was a power that was other than themselves, that was greater than themselves. And that's pretty key to that instinctual, inherent knowledge that there's a creator. That's the underlying common thread that woves all the belief systems and cultures throughout history together. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah, God. There's definitely a God. There's definitely a creator. He's given himself lots of examples and evidence.